Hello, I'm Ruthana and I'm a director at TU-Automotive, and we're here today at Insurance Telematics Europe. And I'm here today with Antti Aumo, Marketing Director at the Connected Car Consortium. So welcome.
Thank you.
So obviously the Connected Car Consortium has got a role to play in the telematics industry as a whole. Would you like to just explain a little bit more about your organisation and what you do and its role with the automotive market and the insurance market as well?
Sure. So Car Connectivity Consortium is the organization that standardizes and develops Mirrorlink, the connectivity standard for connecting smartphones into phones and using phones in the car while driving in a responsible way. And there are lots of different use cases how to use Mirrorlink and what for. But obviously insurance is one very interesting use case because it's a very cost-effective way of delivering data, and it's also an excellent way of getting the consumer engaged with the whole concept of telematics for insurance purpose.
Okay, so we've had many iterations of collecting insurance data, and we've gone through obviously the OBD2 dongle. There's been talk about embedded units, or there are the aftermarket, obviously embedded units. And the smartphone wasn't always seen as a very, the most reliable source, even though the cost benefits and the consumer engagement benefits were very clearly there. Why do you think we've seen a flip where the smartphone is actually becoming more prevalent and seen as a more usable device for collecting data for insurance purposes?
You're absolutely right that the reliability of a smartphone has been questioned in this context. I think that is mostly for a standalone smartphone, because then the question is, was that smartphone really in the car when what was supposed to happen did happen? How accurate are the sensors of the smartphone without any connectivity to the car itself? Because this is about the insurance of the car. And that's where Mirrorlink brings a fundamental difference, because the phone is connected to the car. It is a two-way data traffic between the two. So the car knows that the phone is in the car, and the phone knows that it's in the car. And therefore having the information about what happened really in the car and data from the car. So linking the smartphone truly into the car in a completely different way than before.
So what data sets are being merged with the smartphone data or from the vehicle with the use of Mirrorlink in this case?
Well, Mirrorlink is a technology standard. Okay, so then defining what it's being used for is really up to the industry. So the possibilities are endless. So what Mirrorlink offers is the platform of having two-way data traffic. We all understand that car manufacturers are quite sensitive about what data they want to share. However, in Car Connectivity Consortium, there is commitment from the manufacturers that they do want to open up the data from the car via the car's head unit or the infotainment system into the smartphone. What they want to see is defined use cases, what information is needed by whom and for what purpose, and the specification will open up those pieces of data for that purposes. So now it's really up to the imagination of the car companies, of the insurance companies, of the application developers who want to be part of this ecosystem to figure out, well, what do we want to achieve with this, because we can do so much more than what I call the generation 1.0 of telematics has been for insurance.
So that's interesting to say that it's up to the imagination of the car makers and obviously the ecosystem that's involved. Talking about, as you mentioned, the auto manufacturers have been apprehensive about sharing their data with insurance carriers for some time. And the insurance carriers have really wanted the automaker data for that accuracy. So, what's changed? Why are the automakers, now, obviously with Mirrorlink as well in the fold, starting to open up and be amenable to share this data with the insurance carriers?
Well, we have to understand that in the car there is a tremendous quantity of data. A lot of it is meaningless for the purpose of insurance. A lot of it is highly confidential for the car manufacturer, something that is critical competitive information for them. Okay, so saying that you just stick something into the canvas and you start reading data, as a generic idea is raises concerns. So obviously the car companies want to be part of the definition, well, what do we share? Okay, and with Mirrorlink and with the use cases, well, these are the things we car manufacturers, I'm not a car manufacturer, but they would agree that, well, these are the things we will give to the head unit to be shared, while all that sensitive competitive information, remains safe, and that's a big difference.
So what type of data, obviously they're going through the process of trying to define that at the moment, but what type of data is currently being looked at to share with the insurance carriers?
As I said, it really depends on the use cases. One easy start could be taking the information that you already see in the cockpit as a driver, through the dashboard. There's a wealth of information there that, if given to the head unit and to the phone and to the insurance company in real time, is tremendously useful for insurance purposes. You will get the speed of the vehicle, that's speedometer. If there's a GPS, they get the location. Things like outside temperature, if it was icy roads. Simple things like if the windshield wipers were on and off, so was it raining. Really simple things that you as a driver and the insurance company would really like to know. And those things could be maybe a first step, and then of course going deeper and deeper when we build a roadmap what's coming next. Okay,
so what's the relationship that you have then with the insurance carriers? Because obviously traditionally it's been more with the handsets and the automakers. So how are you building those relationships out with insurers to get them to utilise the Mirrorlink standards in their systems?
Okay, so Mirrorlink standard is happening now. So we have more and more cars. We have millions of cars on the road with Mirrorlink, being Mirrorlink enabled. We have tens of millions of phones with Mirrorlink in them. So this platform is building up right now, and new applications and services for using Mirrorlink are being defined and enabled right now. Okay, so in a broad sense, Mirrorlink is now happening.
Yeah.
So it really is about the insurance industry and companies providing the telematics services to the insurance industries, jumping on board and starting working together. The Car Connectivity Consortium is great, because then you talk with all the car companies at the same time. Start defining, well, how do we want to use this for the purpose of insurance industry.
Okay, so how do you see that roadmap planning out? I mean, at the moment Mirrorlink is obviously happening, and the insurance carriers are starting to take interest. I mean, how do you see that roadmap going and the timeframes that we'll hopefully see this within? Well,
as Mirrorlink is already there as a platform, it really is to be driven by the insurance companies, and there's growing interest. I talk to insurance companies regularly, and there are many who are keen to explore this opportunity, and having the insurance companies starting a dialogue with CCC and with the car manufacturers. This is the type of data that will be useful for us. Let's define together those use cases, and let's agree what data can you deliver to us and under what terms. But at the same time, I think it's just as crucial to introduce new innovation, because I feel like as I say, the telematics 1.0 for insurance is about the old things. It's about how can we reduce the cost of insurance and therefore reduce the price for the consumers. So it's very single-minded proposition, and the way I feel it's been done, it's almost like if you have a house arrest for convict, and they give you that shackle thing, and we monitor your every step.
Yes.
To me, the first generation of UBI has been like that. You as a driver, you claim that you don't crash so much, but we want to monitor every step.
Yes, it's a good analogy.
And then if you don't, then we give you a discount. And what I vision is that we will have what I call telematics 2.0 or 3.0, where this is being used to help the consumer and to give them insight on how they're driving, why something happened the way it happened. Help them to to manage this aspect of their life, driving and traffic in a better way, in a way that they're engaged, and at the same time it will also reduce the number of accidents that they will have, which which then helps the ultimate goal of roads being safer and less damages for the cars. But this can be much bigger thing, and Mirrorlink plays a central role in this, because with Mirrorlink we can safely give information feedback to the driver while driving. Okay, so if you do something funny, we can tell you, immediately thereafter, that was a crazy turn you did. And then you can kind of relate to that. Well, okay, you're right. Whereas at the end of the month, if you get a report that, well, this month 15% of the time you were a poor driver, and therefore we're not giving you a discount, that doesn't change your life or the way you drive in any way. It doesn't impact any kind of positive change.
I mean, that's a good point you raised there, because this conversation about feedback methods to alter driving behaviour has been a long debated topic of conversation. Some people might have said in the past that to give that information at the time of incident or the time of the bad driving behaviour could be distracting. So therefore a dashboard that's emailed or text or something that you can log into afterwards is a more feasible way of doing it. There's obviously negative comments about that as well, and the fact that people won't log in and they won't look at it. And so there's pros and cons to both sides of the story. I mean, is this just kind of an innovative thought that you're sharing here, or is this something that's been researched, tried and tested, and is a way that you guys have decided to go with that immediate feedback method?
It's a fundament of Mirrorlink. As I said in the beginning, Mirrorlink is about connecting the phone and the car. At the same time, it's just as much a specification. How can content and services be delivered in a responsible way while driving? And that's the benefit of having all the car companies on board CCC, because they've been dealing with car-related safety issues for decades, and the car UI is something that they understand. So we have guidelines for application developers. When you share information and content while driving, these are the guidelines how you have to do it. But with those guidelines, you are able to do it. Okay. So Mirrorlink applications they do work while driving, and they do work in a responsible way, and that's what we need for insurance industry. Okay.
So looking at the agenda that we've got here today, obviously you're talking about the sharing of data between the car and the smartphone for insurance purposes. There's obviously a lot of other wider trends happening in the industry at the moment. We're talking about autonomous cars, we're talking about the impact of different mobility models and car sharing and that type of thing, on the impact on insurance as well. I mean, are any of those major kind of trends that are happening on your radar as well, and could your services be utilised within these kind of changing environments that we're currently going through?
Yeah, I feel that Mirrorlink could be part of those trends as well, because it is a smartphone-centric technology standard. Understanding that the smartphone is that's where our life is. Our friends and our work and entertainment is all in the smartphone. So when we go into a car, Mirrorlink helps you connect into that car so that you can use all the content and services in your phone. Of course. In a responsible way. Now, it could be an autonomous car, it could be a rental car, it could be a shared car, but you're still bringing your phone and you want to get connected in a responsible way. So yes, I see that the fundamental use case of Mirrorlink can certainly be extended as the concept of driving and the concept of using a car keeps evolving.
So it's almost like with the car sharing models, with Mirrorlink, it'd be your phone and it would take the data off the car for that trip, irrespective of the vehicle of which you're going into, as long as it's all obviously Mirrorlink enabled. Exactly, so it's thanks to Mirrorlink and all your stuff in your phone, that car is always your car for that ride. Okay, fantastic. Well, it's been fascinating talking to you today, and thank you for being here. And I'm looking forward to hearing your session and the debates that come out of it. I'm looking forward to very interesting conversations as well. Thanks, Ruthana. That's okay.